Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. It's actually Town of Old Saybrook night tonight on the show, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Susie Beckman, who is the head of economic development for the Town of Old Saybrook. Susie, welcome. How are you?
Thank
Good to see you again.
It's good to see you too, Pete.
And an old friend, the Honorable First Selectman of the Town of Old Saybrook, Carl Fortuna.
Pete, good to see
Carl,
you.
good to see you again, my friend. How you been?
Pleasure to see you.
Good to see you.
We had tea not too long ago, or coffee.
I was going to say, we had tea
over at Ashland
That's right.
Farm in Old
Saybrook. A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Susie, what's new?
It's
been a while.
It has been a while. Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for coming down.
And Carl,
Yeah.
there's quite a bit going on in Old Saybrook.
Okay.
You don't always see it on the surface. It's sometimes just there's an undercurrent of activity. We've been doing quite a bit of marketing. The town, 2 years ago?
Two budget years ago.
Started with a little marketing budget. And the Economic Development Commission has been working very diligently to make sure that money is spent well, and it serves the town in terms of getting the word out about Old Saybrook being a great place for businesses, being a great place for visitors, but usually in the off season as opposed to the summer season that's already busy, and also trying to attract new residents.
So what we're doing basically is trying to distinguish the town. When they came forward with the marketing budget, my point is, hey, we're competing with a lot of the towns around us. Westbrook, Clinton, Madison, Guilford, Old Lyme, Essex. We're competing for families. We're competing for businesses. We live in a state where the economy is not a hard-charging economy. It's a little bit slow. Connecticut's economy isn't growing like a lot of other states. It's probably the slowest in New England, and New England isn't growing that much. So the Economic Development Commission, with Susie's leadership, came forward and said, hey, how about $15,000? And what we're going to do is we're going to spend it on marketing work, either through Facebook or emails. And I'm going to let Susie talk a little bit about more how we're deploying that money to hopefully attract people and businesses.
Okay.
So we started with some social media, and because that was a real basic, inexpensive way to get more of the word out about Old Saybrook. Okay. And we set up a Facebook page, and we were very careful about how we did that. And it has grown significantly. Last year, a year ago, we had put up a video that went absolutely wild in terms of what our usual viewers are. Okay. And so we had over 100,000 people see this video. And so our social media presence has grown in the past year significantly, which is really great. Wow. And we did start out with some more traditional types of advertising, but more recently some more digital kinds of advertising have come online that we've been experimenting with over the past 6-7 months. Geofencing is one of them, and it's
geofencing.
What's geofencing?
Geofencing. Geofencing is a way of advertising to a very specific market. Okay. You can actually draw on the map the location that you want to target. You can pick demographics. You can identify, like I said, the location, and then you can also identify a location where a device that gets your ad eventually goes to.
Oh, cool.
So if we send an ad to someone at, say, one of the locations we did was the Essex Steam Train.
Sure.
We wanted people going to the Essex Steam Train to know that Old Saybrook was also a great place to visit.
Absolutely.
While they were at the Essex Steam Train. So we could track whether or not any of the devices that received that ad at the Essex Steam Train actually then came down to Main Street in Old Saybrook. Really? And we did, yes. It's a little scary in some ways, because you think if you've got your location devices on, people are going to maybe send you some ads.
They can
some of
stalk you.
Right. Well, we're not stalking people.
No.
But
we're trying.
We're trying.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We want them to know about Old Saybrook.
We want them to know about Old Saybrook, and we
Absolutely.
want them to know all of the interesting things we have to do down there.
Absolutely.
So we did that in the fall, and it was relatively successful. in terms of being able to attract people. We actually had 200, almost 300 people come to Main Street who had received those ads on their phones.
Oh, cool.
It was really cool, and we're continuing with that.
So basically, when you're geofencing, you're not sending out an ad or an invitation to come to Old Saybrook to someone in Massachusetts who is going to look at it and go, delete, or I'm not going to bother.
Right.
You're just trying to get people in the area to come down and see our town.
Absolutely.
And we've done something similar with businesses, trying to attract entrepreneurs to Old Saybrook. We looked at locations in New London, a couple locations in New Haven, because we'd like to possibly attract those businesses, those entrepreneurs that are in the biosciences area. We have some relatively inexpensive space relative to the inner city. And we have space available. It's a great town. We're on the commuter line. So there are a lot of attributes that Old Saybrook can offer to those entrepreneurs who may be starting their businesses and expanding and not able to afford space down in New Haven or in New London.
It's all about getting. You want to grow your tax base.
Yes.
You want to grow your commercial tax base.
Yeah.
And we do have, as Susie said, we have kind of a research parkway where we have some of those businesses right now. But it's also about Main Street. You have to have vital main streets. And we've lost a few tenants on Main Street more recently. So there's some vacancies. But, and Susie and I have talked about this. There's a little bit of a switch going on right now. Some of the businesses on Main Street have moved to Route 1. Maybe because the rents are higher on Main Street and they're a little bit lower on Route 1. So we're seeing some vitality on Route 1, which is interesting.
Absolutely.
In fact, there's a very large project that's going to be started on Lynn Street over by Stop and Shop. Right across as you come out of Stop and Shop, there's a big vacant lot. And we're going to have a lot of construction going on that street very shortly. So I think it's a little bit cyclical. I think people want to move to Main Street, and then the rents maybe get a little too high, and then maybe they find a different location. So right now, we're getting some good activity on Route 1. Obviously, we really want to fill those spots on Main Street.
Absolutely.
Because we really want to keep Main Street, obviously, like most towns, very walkable, friendly, inviting. You walk down Main Street, you go into a restaurant, you go into a place and buy a piece of art, which of course we're going to talk about in a second. We have a whole art initiative that is being displayed today, and we're going to have a grand opening shortly. But so Susie's been with us 6 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
6 years. You have to put out the effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a tough economy in southeastern Connecticut. It's not as vibrant as West Hartford or Fairfield County, but we have to do our best to attract businesses and people to our town.
And with our marketing, we are using some of those newer tools, but we're not ignoring the older tools. I still send out letters trying to recruit businesses that might be looking for a second location, because we have found that several of the businesses in Old Saybrook, like Little Pub, for example, is a company that is based in Connecticut, has several locations in Connecticut, but then saw that Old Saybrook could be another great expansion opportunity.
Right.
So I still do that as well.
And we also took out a couple ads in New England Journal of Business or Real Estate.
Real estate, right.
For Mariner's Way. We took out a couple old-fashioned newspaper ads to advertise Mariner's Way. And I don't know if we got a couple calls on that.
We got a couple calls.
Yeah. We can talk about Mariner's Way in a little bit, but obviously we put a lot of hard work into that area. It hasn't borne any results as of yet. But when we started on Mariner's Way 6-7 years ago, one of the first things I said is, this is going to take 10 or 15 years. It's going to take that long to turn this area of town around.
Yes.
And you have to start somewhere.
Right.
So.
And the planning is very important. I think, because it gives people a concept of what the town is willing to support in that area. And we've been through that planning process. So we have a lot of information we can provide to potential developers when the time comes. And we did get some interest last year, which is good, and we'll continue to follow up on that, and hopefully we'll find more.
Wow.
You know, I recently had a reporter call me, Pete, and the question I received was, you know, why are you spending so much time on Mariners Way, which is a collection of private property?
Right.
The town doesn't own any of that property. So what makes you think you can drive development on Mariners Way? And you know what we can do? We can try to drive development.
Right.
We can offer incentives. We have a tax increment financing zone. We can. We did a little bit of a remediation look at one of the properties. You know, see if it was dirty, polluted. And we have a planning grant out there right now that we hope to get. And if we are able to get this planning grant, what we would be doing on Mariners Way, which if your viewers don't know is Route 1 East, so if you're at Mystic Market and you head out to the river, it's that stretch right there. And the idea would be to create a boulevard feel. So it's a very wide road. We would maybe have a bike ped path, so it would be very inviting for people to take a bike ride out that way or go for a run or a walk, and then maybe narrow the roadway a little bit to calm traffic.
Wow.
So we're hoping to get that grant. And then we would have, if we get that grant, we would get Mariners Way Boulevard designed, and then we have to apply for a grant for construction.
Would you guys mind sticking around?
Love to do it.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kelly. It is my job to teach employees the responsible way to sell both tobacco and electronic cigarettes. As of October 1st, 2019, a customer must be at least 21 years old to purchase a tobacco product or an electronic cigarette. The law also says all employees must card anyone who appears to be under the age of 30 years old. The free updated prevention education program will be available on October 1st, 2019 at cttobaccotraining.com.
Community TV, your neighborhood TV.
Publicly funded and a reliable partner for cable companies nationwide, it provides transparent coverage of local and state government, education, and public programming.
A digital town green that can be watched anywhere, anytime, and on any device.
Watch us on today's high-tech distribution methods.
Community TV in Connecticut.
Local,
unfiltered,
reliable, and yours.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. Sitting here with Susie Beckman and Carl Fortuna from the town of Old Saybrook. Guys, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susie, so opening up this segment, ladies' choice. Where do you want to start?
Well, we were just talking about Mariners Way.
Okay.
So I want to just complete that, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We got involved with a program through UConn called the Connecticut Brownfields Initiative.
Okay.
And it's a program where students at UConn who are in their master's level taking courses related to brownfields and engineering and remediation are involved in projects to help out communities that are trying to revitalize areas that have been brownfields historically.
Okay.
So what has happened, we applied back in November. We were accepted into the program, and we're one of only a handful of towns that are part of this semester's project. And what they are going to help us with are identifying parcels along Mariners Way that are possibly brownfields, and then mapping them. So we have some thoughts about where those brownfields are. We've looked at a map, historically understanding what has been the industry on that property, and we have some ideas that maybe it could be, but this program will now identify those that actually should be investigated.
And the way they
further.
identify it, so brownfields are properties that have been polluted, right? So the idea would be to get these students to do a phase 1 type study. In pollution, when you're looking at a property, there's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Yes.
Phase 1 is simply, what is the history of this property? What was it used for? Are there any files on that property up at DEEP So maybe there was a spill 40 years ago on the property,
Right.
and DEEP, Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, has a record on it. So the students are just doing phase ones to identify potential properties that have a record or have some suspicion of being a dirty property, or have actually a record. The importance of that is if a developer does come in and identifies a property that they would love to, hey, I like this property, geez, where do I start? We could say, here, this is where you start. We've already done a phase one for you. That saves you a little bit of money, not a ton of money. No. And it's a volunteer program. Susie was very aggressive in getting involved with it. We did a phone interview, and we were accepted into the program. So that's just a little bit more that we're doing in Mariner's Way. Not really spending any of the town's money, but doing it with volunteers and grants and staff time. And it's really important. It's just another thing we are doing to try to spur development. On a far different note,
Yes.
on a far different note, we're going to talk a little bit about an initiative that was Susie brought to me about one of the hallways in Town Hall. Now in Town Hall,
Is it your hallway?
it's a town hall that has big white empty walls a lot of times. There's not a lot on the walls.
Right.
So there's this big long hallway that goes by the town clerk's building, and Susie came to me and said,
Can we put an art exhibit gallery in there?
And you said,
yes. I was going to try to be a little more clever than that, and I said, you know what, it's TV, I better not.
you said, I was waiting for, and I'll think about it, but I'll get
No,
back
not
to
at
you.
all.
Well, he did hesitate like that when I asked,
Well, I
too.
probably hesitated because I was
So
like,
what
what's
do you
that?
mean? Yeah. What is that you mean?
So anyway, we're having a grand opening next Wednesday at 11 a.m. You're
Right.
invited next
Absolutely.
Wednesday at 11 a.m.
February 12th.
February 12th. The public is invited February 12th at 11 a.m. in Town Hall, Old Saybrook. The display went up today.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it doesn't sound spectacular. It's spectacular.
Okay.
How many pieces of art are there?
Oh, wow. I don't know. 50 maybe?
Yeah.
50,
There's got to be
60
upwards of 50 pieces of art.
Oh my goodness.
All done, and the concept behind the community art, it's called Community Art Hallway, and the idea really came from providing a space for local artists. And there are other places in Old Saybrook that do this, and there are other places in the region that do this, but we thought this particular public space with this wall would be a wonderful way to allow the public to enjoy some of the work that local artists are doing.
Okay.
And the first exhibit is by a group called Brush Strokes. And it's a group of artists who work together and exhibit together.
Oh, cool.
They've been doing it for several years, so we're excited to have them.
How long is each exhibit going to be up for?
About 4 months.
Okay.
And then it'll be rotating. And we put out a call for artists, and Brush Strokes was the first group to apply. We've had 6 other applications as well, so we'll have things rotating up for the next year and a half at least.
Oh, wow.
I know you work a little bit in Old Saybrook.
Yes.
You have to come by.
All right.
You have to come by and see it.
Come to the event.
Okay.
Yeah, come on February
Wednesday.
12th.
The
Yeah, next
12th,
Wednesday.
Wednesday, the
11
12th at
Sure.
11 a.m.
Absolutely.
And I would just
please.
want to let people know that the Old Saybrook Rotary Club was really instrumental in helping us create this space.
Okay.
They partnered with us to get a grant from Eversource. And Eversource gave us a grant of $2,000, which covered the hanging display system,
Okay.
which we have now and was installed. And then the Rotary Club said, you could really use lights. If you're going to have an art hallway, you need lights. And the Old Saybrook Rotary provided the funding for us to put in the lights, and it really makes
Really?
Pete, when I
It's
tell you,
a full
first of all,
gallery.
the hanging system for the art is about a $2,000 item. I mean, it's
Okay.
expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
so you can buy these pieces of art too. So it identifies the artist and how much that artist is willing to sell the piece for.
Okay.
But then the lights, I mean, So you're walking in town hall,
Right.
You're walking down this bit of a drab hallway, and you just get knocked in the face with all this beautiful color.
Are the lights on yet?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The lights are on,
It's-
the system's up, all the artwork went up today.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm excited.
Such a nice
about
touch. It
It's
really
nice.
is.
Cool.
So also, economic development has been working on a strategic plan. If you want to talk about that, and I know on Wednesday, February 5th, there was a joint meeting between the Economic Development Commission and the Planning Commission to talk about that plan. And Susie, if you want to elaborate on that.
It's been a 2-year process, and we had members of the Planning Commission and a member of the Economic Development Commission, along with the town planner and myself, working as a small group to come up with a 10-year strategy to hopefully have become part of the plan of conservation and development, so that we have a strategy going forward that covers, the strategy covers topic areas like business growth and support, housing, what else, vibrancy in town, transportation in town. So we hit the major topic areas of all of those things that are important to economic development. And then we also identify key business areas in town.
Okay.
Town center, Saybrook Junction, the Research Parkway area where we have a number of our larger businesses, Mariners Way, Ferry Point, Saybrook Point, Spencer Plain, Schoolhouse Road, it goes on. We cover quite a few areas that are real business centers for Old Saybrook. And then we identify all the different actions we could take to really revitalize or improve or help support the economic vitality of each of those areas.
We're doing a lot.
Absolutely.
So, the dividends don't always come immediately. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it can take 6 months. Sometimes it can take 10 years.
Yes.
But you have to have a long-term vision, and obviously with Susie's leadership and a good economic development commission, very active commission, it's really come forward with this strategic plan and a lot of other initiatives that are coming out of economic development, like coming up with a budget. I mean, to advertise the town.
Yeah.
Didn't occur to me. It's not my focus, but obviously my focus is economic development. But to have someone help lead the charge is really important.
How many people on the Economic Development Commission?
We have 9.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's chairman?
Matt Puglisi. He's the chair.
Okay.
He's also on the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, he was.
I can say I know that name.
He's the minority member on the Board of Selectmen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They've done a good job, and it's been a nice initiative. So, but there's other things going on in town.
What else is going on? We've got a little bit more time left.
Well, we did touch on Route 1,
Yep.
the changes that have happened there. We have now a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts, and Smithfield Supply has come in.
And there is always a
and-
line at that drive-through Dunkin' Donuts.
There
Yes, there is.
People are in their cars and going
Talk about a
through.
need for a drive-through.
Yeah, no kidding.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's there, Smithfield Supply, and that's all on the former bowling alley. Anyone who's familiar with Old
Yeah.
Saybrook will remember the bowling alley. That's on the former bowling alley site, so
Yes.
that's been redeveloped. And then the former Pizza Hut.
Yeah, what are they doing there? I walked by it this morning.
That's rather exciting. It was sitting there for many years. And
Too many years.
Skipper's is
Skipper's,
going
which
in
is a
there.
seafood place.
They have one
Okay.
in Niantic,
Okay.
and it's going to be the same concept down in Old Saybrook now.
Opening when?
They hope to open for the season.
For the summer. They're
Yeah.
going gangbusters on that.
I walked by it this morning.
And they really wanted to be in Old Saybrook. They were very determined to get that site. We were, Chris Costa, our zoning enforcement officer, was on the phone with them quite a bit, and we're really happy to have them. I think they'll do well there. We have Johnny Ads right down the street, but
Yep.
I don't think they're going to compete too much with each other. I don't. I think I think they will both do very well. There's and then we're very preliminarily. I don't want to spill the beans on it, but we're applying for a National Endowment for the Arts grant
Okay.
for maybe a multi-day event next May. And if we get that grant, I will definitely, at your invitation, of course, come back.
You mean I have to wait till next May?
No, it'd be before next May.
Oh, okay.
But it would be a very exciting thing to talk about on the show.
All right.
Really exciting if we get the grant.
I think I can squeeze
If
you
we
in,
get
maybe.
the grant,
Maybe.
and we'll bring some of the players in
Yeah.
who applied for the grant.
Absolutely.
Be really fabulous.
Absolutely. Speaking of fabulous, before we say goodnight, because we got a little bit more time left, if people want more information on Susie Beckman and the
Community Art Hallway?
yeah, where do they go?
You can email me,
Yeah.
susan.beckman@oldsaybrookct.gov,
Or you
or
can-
just give me a call, 860-395-3139.
Or just go to the website and
You can find it on the website
gonna
too,
say
but you might
somewhere.
have to type in Old Saybrook Community Art Hallway.
Hallway, okay.
Right, be specific because it's a big website.
okay.
There's a lot of information on there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
We're going to continue with our sidewalks this year. Continue getting rid of some of the lousier sidewalks in town and
Oh, good.
improving on those. So
Excellent.
make the town more walkable and vibrant. And it's all about the vibrancy of the town.
Well, speaking of vibrancy of the town, we're out of time.
Okay.
So Susie Beckman, I want to thanks for coming down. We'll
Thanks,
see you soon.
Pete. Good to see
Carl,
you.
see you soon.
Pleasure.
On behalf of Susie Beckman, and Carl Fortuna, I'm Pete Mezzetti. We'll see you next time.